Yeah, Comic View used to do that a lot.
Man, I hated that.
To me, that's the sign of a lazy producer.
Yeah.
It's like, man, it's so you could have put an iguana next to him. That would have been just as exciting. You know what I'm saying?
They like, let's put some pretty ladies behind the comedians, and they was always right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we watched.
And you know, stand up, man. One false move, if you lose the audience's attention,
yeah, immediately crowd work.
man, it's just like, yo, man, get these women out of here.
Yeah, man, women are to be praised and respected, not objectified.
Man,
that's always the fine line too. It's like, you know, do you want attention or do you want what quality? Because they talk about quality time, but what about the quality of attention I'm paying?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because respect is a quality.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a quality.
Yeah.
It's, you know, meaning like, you know, there's different levels to quality. You know, there's a handshake, there's a hug, there's a conversation. You know, it elevates. So, you know, I try to give women the highest quality of my respect according to the situation we're in. You know?
Right. Yeah.
So no Claire Huxtable respect in the strip club. I'm gonna give you.
You know what? When I'm at the strip club, I give them the respect of the services they provide.
Right.
So, like if we at the strip club and they in there, dancing, I get a dance, whatever, I like to pay them accordingly. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I like to, if they just perform, I try to give them the clap. Yeah, the respect the performance.
Right. What gets a standing O in the strip club from Tony Baker? With the slow, hard clap.
Man, just the Rock and Rudy joint. Charles S. Dutton and Rudy clap. Yo, it was one time we was in Miami at the strip club. And it was this one girl, man, she went the extra mile. And she was just doing the most on that stick. Because it was like her time to perform, do her set, if you will. And so...
We live, right? All right, cool. Go ahead.
She, you know, she had this one girl in the audience. She had her hemmed up. She was doing a little tad too much. I'm like, yo, this looks like assault. And then she grabbed one of my homeboys up and threw him up there and gave him the business. And it was just like, yo, this is... And I just gave her the rest of the money I had because I was on my way out. And usually when I'm about to leave the strip club and I got money left, I just get rid of it however.
Right.
So I was like, yo, she earned this.
What's the limit you'll spend in the strip club? I've never been past 200. I don't go a lot, but if I'm generous, I get 200 once. Yeah. And whatever happens that night, 200 bought me.
300 is like my base.
Right.
But I feel like I'm trying to think of how much I spent. Because one time I went with my ex-girlfriend and her friend, and I think I gave them 100 apiece just to start off with. And they blew it fast on the first girl.
Right.
And I was just like, no, y'all got to distribute.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all got to save for the rest of the night. This is the first.
Yeah.
And they up there talking regular conversations. And
it's always interesting when you go to the strip club with two women. I'm going to make up a word. To witness female frugality. Like, women do not spend it all in one place.
Yeah.
They'll sit with 10 strippers and give them each $10 before they give one girl the whole 100. You know what I mean? Like, women are frugal in the strip club.
Man, well, my ex-girl and her friend wasn't.
Okay, they gave it up.
Blowing it all on that first girl. I was just like, y'all spend it all in one place, man.
Would you date a stripper? Like, if she was currently stripping and this was her lifestyle, do you think you could take a stripper serious?
You know what? If you would have asked me this like years ago, I'd be like, nah. But then I found myself kind of dating one for a little bit. Like, when we first started talking, I didn't know that she was one. And then she told me like later on, and we never took it to the next level, but when she told me, I wasn't really tripping.
Right.
I wasn't really like, oh,
she was bad.
Deal. I was just like, oh, all right. I didn't know that. And it really didn't faze me.
So more it's the honesty thing, you were more connected.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm not really as against it as I thought I was.
You know what I realized, I get a little bit more educated. I mean this life experience. I don't mean more schooling, but there really are people in the world that aren't capable of love. Do you feel like you've dealt with a woman in your lifetime that wasn't really capable of love. Maybe she didn't have the tools. Maybe her childhood trauma was a little bit too much to overcome.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you've ever dealt with somebody who really isn't genuinely capable of loving a person? It could be a woman or a friend.
Loving or receiving the love?
Okay, well, that's two different things.
Yeah.
I would say expressing it, and then I would say, yeah, receiving it is something completely different than expressing it.
I've never seriously, been in a relationship with a person like that, because I feel like I wouldn't even be able to get past that threshold to even take it to the next level.
Right.
If they can't show love, extend it.
Right.
You got to extend the love to bring me in.
Right.
So, but I've definitely experienced some women that can't really show it, don't express it the right way. A lot of women, even recently, I've been, just communicating with some women that, man, you can't even receive.
Right.
I can tell you can't really receive this type of good energy.
What is that? As men, fathers and all that. Like, how do we explain that to our kids? Like, how do we teach them what to look for in a woman that's like that? Because a lot of good people end up wasting their time dealing with people who refuse to deal with their own traumas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But how can I teach a 15-year-old kid how to see that in a woman?
Right. It's bad. What I find when it comes to kids and their dating and who they're dating, you kind of, because you don't want to, when it comes to me raising my kids, I didn't want to pre-sell them on stuff.
Right.
Like I didn't want them running around with just, jewels or tools that I gave them from my own toolbox.
Right. She's 5'9", too tall for respect.
Right.
If she's 5'9", it's not gonna work, son.
Yeah. Remember that. 5'9" and up, man, it ain't gonna work. And then they walking through life.
Too much altitude. Yeah.
Right. So I didn't want to plant those things in my sons like that, because what our parents tell us, we carry that.
Right.
Good or bad, we're gonna carry it.
Right.
And sometimes, a lot of times, you find out it didn't even make sense. So it's like it doesn't even apply to you. And so I kind of just dwell in their experiences and then hear them out and then go from there.
Right.
Offer insight, offer perspective. And when your kids open up to you about their relationships, you feel like that really feels like VIP.
Right.
It really feels like, oh man, you opening up.
Right.
You coming to me, you taking the guard down, the parental guard that we often have with our parents sometimes. Right. Even, good parents, we still kind of hide certain things.
Yeah.
We might not feel comfortable saying, yo, my girl be doing this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so when my sons would come to me about relationship advice or just ventilating,
right,
I make sure I just listen and then just offer insight. I try not to overbash.
Right, yeah.
Just in case.
Well, compartmentalization is one of the biggest signs of intelligence to me.
Yeah.
I mean, as comedians, we can never make a statement that covers everybody.
Right.
But you can't be general when giving a young person life advice. It really has to be catered towards this specific experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because at a certain age, I really feel like, just for safety purposes, sometimes if you give blanket information to a child or a young adult, they may lose out on opportunity, not understanding. Like, no, this is specifically this type of woman or this type of dude you got to look out for.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Heck yeah. So what do you think about young men dating older women? 18-year-old young male, attractive guy, has stuff going on for himself, and he finds himself in a situation with a 40-year-old woman.
Ooh. That's wild. That's predatory.
Man, I think it's predatory for sure.
Come on now. If it was a man doing that to a girl, we'd have strung him up.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I don't know why it's hard for people to perceive women as predators in certain situations.
Right, yeah.
Because a lot of times, look, women are smarter than us, bro. They're smarter, they're patient.
Yeah.
I won't say conniving, but they're very good at the plot.
Yeah, for sure.
And a lot of young men find themselves entangled in situations. So how would you tell a young guy to deal with that?
Yo, it's you got to be like, all right, so let's say my son was like, yeah, Dad, she feeling me. I was like, how old is she? 40. I'm like, first of all, that's too old, man.
She's too broke in.
Yeah, that is a grown woman. You break down how old she was when you was born.
You're right. Hey, that's perfect.
You know what I'm saying? She was a grown woman when you came out of your mom.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. And so she has life experiences that you haven't even, even fathomed yet.
Yeah.
And she's out here. She could be potentially grooming you, manipulating you. She could be a quality, legit woman also that just happened to fall for a young man. You know what I mean? But you got to be super careful. Now, since you are of 18,
you can do what you want to do.
You're technically, legal, but just keep in mind that you got to be mindful of what she wants from you, what she's looking for. Because she could just be looking for a good time, a young thrill,
right?
A little young, active penis, whatever you want to call it. But you just got to be careful with that.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, I would rather you not deal with this woman, but, you're going to do what you're going to do. But just keep that in mind.
Right.
Yeah, because that's a gap.
Oh, man. That's too large of a gap.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we've all been there. I haven't done 22 years, but I think as a young adult, I did like 10.
I did a gap. I did like 12. A 12-year gap.
How old were you?
I was 30. She was 20. I was like 30. 30.
Oh, okay.
I was like 34.
Okay, so what
34.
That's not bad.
Yeah. I felt bad though. Yeah. I was like, man, the gap. You know what I mean? Because I always get to think, like, even my ex-girlfriend, she's what, 8 years younger than me?
Right.
And whenever you do the math.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, like, now mind you, when I met her, she was in her 30s, but when you do the math.
Yeah.
I'd be like, man, when I was 18, you was 10?
Yeah, that's wild.
Yourself out. You'd be like...
And there's no cars on memory lane with an age gap. You know what I mean? Like, you try. Remember when Take 7 dropped?
Yeah.
And she just be quiet. Like, I don't even know who Take 7 is.
I was only 5. So it's just like, So you start thinking about that gap in the moment. Because, like, for me, like, let's say I knew her when she was 10.
Right.
There's no chance in hell we would ever date.
No, not even close.
Because once I see you as the kids, you are forever the kids.
Right.
Unless I was a kid with you.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, you will always be the kids.
Right.
If I see you that young.
I think it's vulnerability. People who you were around in your most vulnerable state are people you have a connection with, because we made it out.
Yeah.
Like being a child is the most vulnerable place you could be in.
Absolutely.
As a human, because you can't protect yourself, you can't feed yourself. So, yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
So, have you ever realized that you were the prey of a woman? Like, this was
I lost my virginity to an older woman, but it wasn't like the gap we just mentioned, but it was like she was 22, I was 18. So it's not really older like that, but she was definitely more experienced. She had 2 kids. She was, and I lost my virginity to her. She didn't know I was a virgin, but it was just like, so when I lost my virginity, I went raw.
We all went raw the first time.
Capped off and shot the club up.
Oh, yeah.
And she was like, I'm pregnant, so she got the abortion.
Right.
But then I was wondering, like, yo, did she just play me for
cash? That's where we've all been played. I feel like we've all been on that end of the stick where someone has lied about being pregnant. And it's weird because you can't really confront a chick about that.
I can't, because she could have been genuinely pregnant.
Yeah, and it's her body.
Yeah,
but and then how do you prove that?
Exactly. So I was just like, I just gave money up, and I was like, did she really?
What was it at that time? What, $250, $300?
I put $300 on it.
That's crazy. It's cost so little to kill a baby. You would think it'd be like at least $2-3 grand. You know what I mean? But
so I was just like, so I had that thought for sure. I was just like, did she play me?
Yeah.
For a quick, $300?
That happened to me a couple years ago.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, wow, that's interesting. And I still don't know to this day.
Right.
And I mentioned it one time, and the emotionality just went through the roof. So I was like, I'll never mention it again. But
how'd you mention it?
I just was like, how come we never went to the doctor? You saying, you talking about you pregnant? Well, let's go I want to go to the doctor with you.
Yeah.
We never went to the doctor, and then I never heard nothing about the baby. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
That's red flag city.
Yeah, I'm like, you didn't show me no clinic paperwork, no nothing. You were just pregnant, and now you're not.
And that's the thing. It was like if I were to go with her, it would have been a different thing. But since they just go and like usually when a woman you deal with, and I'm not sure how deep y'all were, usually like they want to bring you with them.
Yeah, for sure.
For support, you know what I'm saying? So whatever. So if they go solo and don't even mention it, that's a red flag.
Definitely.
It's like, so how'd the appointment? You had to bring it up probably like, so how'd the appointment go? What appointment? The procedure. What procedure? I got my toes done. No, the abortion.
Yeah.
Like, it went fine. So anyway. Yeah. So that's a little sus.
Yeah, definitely, man. You learn a lot though, man, especially as, we lightweight celebrity. Not full-fledged, but I mean, shoot. Every day somebody recognizes me from stuff that we've done with All Deaf. How long did it take you to adjust to that? Because what I know of Tony Baker, for those of y'all out there in America, Tony Baker's a very humble guy. He's not really the type of guy that wants all the attention on him. Mm-hmm. He's an artist, and he's really about the craft. So I know you're not really with the antics and the extras. So how do you deal with the celebrity?
Well, I signed up for it. So it's like, okay, a goal has been met. You know what I mean? Like, it's not how I envisioned it.
Man,
but it is
not even close.
Right. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, so this is part of what I expected. This is part of the dream. You know what I'm saying? When you see yourself as an actor or, a famous comedian, you think about the fans, people knowing you, people getting excited. So it's just like, but I still don't see myself as a celebrity.
Right.
Even though I get recognized, it's still just like, oh snap, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I always make sure to give good energy when people recognize me.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what mood I'm in, I turn it on immediately.
You got to.
Because in that moment, they might not never see me again in real life. So it's like, I would hate to have that one moment where, man, Tony was an asshole. Yeah.
Then it
can people hold on to that forever.
Forever.
I met him one time, man, at Whole Foods, man. He looked right through me.
Well, you know what? As I get older, I notice that boundaries really rub some people the wrong way.
Yeah,
it's like they don't really understand that, like, my personal space is me.
Right.
So it's not a disrespect if I say, hey, don't call me, text me. That's a boundary that I have for me. It don't have shit to do with you. Yeah. It don't mean I don't like you. Right. It don't mean I'm arrogant. It's you don't understand that there's only so much of me that could go around.
Yeah.
I don't want to give you a piece of me that belongs to the people I love. Like, I'm not arguing with people I barely know.
Yeah.
I'm not, so like the boundaries, like, does it get uncomfortable sometimes when you got to set a boundary with certain people, or are you just kind of used to that?
I got no issue setting boundaries with people that I contact. Like the fans don't usually violate my boundaries. The only thing is if they're rude about asking for a picture.
Right.
But other than that, as far as like people, that's my main boundary is texting.
Right.
Like I prefer text over phone calls.
I'm getting there now. Yeah. I'm getting there.
I am. Text me. Yeah. I tell everybody, even when it's business, I'll be like, email. If it's business, email me.
And there's a reason why people. It's because, not just because I'm not trying to talk to you. It's not that. If there's something that's really important. You need to have it in writing, because if you just say it to me verbally, I'm not going to remember the details. I'm not going to remember. And you're going to be mad because it's not going to be the response you're looking for.
Exactly.
Just know that it comes across as you're trying to get over on me.
Yeah.
If I tell you what I need to do to feel comfortable, and you're not accepting of that. You just question me. Oh, you think you're big time? And when people start with those emotional ass, oh, you're being fake, and no, motherfucker, that's none of that.
None of it, dog. I just don't want to be on the phone. One of my least favorite words, let's hop on a call. I'll be like, oh, man, let's not.
Yeah.
And like you said, my memory is trash. You're giving me too much information. A lot of people talk in circles. And so I'm just like, yo, put it in the email, put it in the text. That way I have it. Like even my brand manager, she always be trying to call me with like, tax information that I need to relay. And I'm just like, stop trying to call me. I need it written down so I can just send that because I'm gonna fumble the ball every time.
Every time.
So I'm just like, I prefer writing. Even regular text message. I had a situation recently with a girl, and she was mad at me about something, and I was just like, for what? I said this, and you never responded, and so I was like, show me the text you're referring to, and she was just like, I erased all my texts. I was like, all right, so I went back and pulled up the exact conversation she was talking about.
Right.
And it turns out it wasn't how she remembered it.
Right.
And I was like, see, this is why everybody be like, I prefer to talk on the phone where you can create your own narrative in a conversation. I got the receipt here. And that saved my ass in that moment because it was like, yo, you was mad at me, but I responded, as you can see. And so, but people like what they like. And so, if it clashes with that, and a lot of people just want to talk on the phone with you because they want to hear themselves talk.
Man, another element that people want people to know that they know you. So people will call you when they with a cousin or a family member, or they want to show that they have some type of control over Tony Baker. Like I don't even mind that if it's making you look good, but just don't be mad if it goes the other way. You get what I'm saying? It's just not personal.
I don't answer the phone.
You don't? Okay.
I don't answer 90% of my phone calls.
Yeah, I get it.
90%. And so it happens a lot. Like usually I look at the phone and I just watch it dial. Or I just miss the call and then I text you back. But it's rare that I answer the phone.
You remember what your first viral video was?
It was the raccoon eating out the cat food dish.
What was that about? Shit, that was what, 2009?
This was like 20. When it went viral, when I first recorded it, it was like 2013, maybe.
Okay.
When it went viral, I want to say it was like 2015, maybe. 2015, it was the cat. I mean, the raccoon was eating out the cat food bowl, and the cats was just looking at him like they were surrounding him, just looking at him. He was just like, and he kept putting the food in the water before he would eat it. He was just like, yeah. And it looked like he was just talking to the cat, like, y'all gonna be doing this? He was dipping it in there. And then the raccoon was like, all right, I gotta get out of here. So he scrambles. And then he comes back for one last scoop and then runs off. That was the first one that went viral.
So what clicked for you, man? Because, you started a little bit before me, maybe like 3 or 4 years before me. But I remember when we first met and all that stuff, like around the time. And our class is a bunch of people that if I named, they would know some of them, but not everybody.
Right.
But you were the first person, I believe, maybe I'm overlooking somebody in our class of comedians that started taking social media serious.
Yeah.
I remember seeing you online all the time and I didn't get it. I'm like, nigga, I'd be burnt out. Tony Baker's always posting.
Right.
What clicked where you were like, this, okay. It ain't just about the auditioning and open mics and doing shows. Like, this is it. Like, what clicked? What did you see to make you take this shit so serious?
It really wasn't. When I first got on Instagram, I was like, yo, this is a cool way to just show pictures. I call myself like using it as an artistic outlet for me. Because I'm a visual guy. So it was just like, I can post pictures and stuff. And then when they started incorporating little videos and stuff, and then I was just like, all right, this is cool too. So it became like an outlet because I've always been into like, Facebook and MySpace. So I was just used to posting stuff and sharing my musical tastes. And, I've always been into that.
Yeah, we knew you was into Nas. Man, we always talking about Nas. And Tony's a real hip hop head for those that don't know. He's a real hip hop head for sure.
Yeah, I got on the Ab Soul shirt right now.
Yeah, Ab is dope. Ab is dope. Shout out to Ab. I know Ab.
He's underrated.
For sure.
So I was just doing that on the level of just doing that. And so really like, it was never really my intention to be like, all right, this is going to be the new wave. But then I saw like how people were blowing up on Vine and then they were doing these little videos. So I started, shooting videos with them. And then I was just like, all right, I was kind of creating characters like Travis Santiago and the Drug Lord. And it was just like, all right, I can create characters and build something here. And then once I found out that the voiceovers popped, I was like, oh, y'all like this. And so, because it really wasn't anybody I saw. And then I was like, let me replicate.
Right.
It was just like, all right, let me just, it was an organic flow because me doing voiceovers was something that I wanted to do before anything blew up.
Right.
Because I was gonna do it with Marlon Wayans when he had What the Funny. Remember that?
Yeah.
And so we were gonna create something like that. And so when that raccoon video did blow up, I was like, let me just give the people what they want, and I can just do this on the regular. And so once I found that out, I was like, I can do this by myself. I ain't even got to connect with other people.
Yeah, that's all good.
It's a wrap, man. I could do these all day. And so that's how that came about.
First celebrity woman you tried to holler at, even if it didn't go good, she shut you down, or you didn't get to first base, but you're like, you know what, man, that's Nell Carter. I got to try.
Nell Carter? Give me a break. Come on, give me a break. Give me a break. I remember I told Russell Simmons, because even this back when he used to be at All Def all the time, I was like, man, Sanaa Lathan, man. Ooh. He was like, he tried to
really?
Yeah, but she just ignored my little message to her, and I was like, well, you know what I'm saying? This was like years ago.
Yeah.
But I guess Sanaa Lathan, yeah.
That's a top tier one. That's top tier.
Yeah, but she never responded, so it was just like
she might now.
She might, you never know. But yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I tried to holler at Beyonce.
Oh man, you went for the cream. You went for the top.
This old one Beyonce. This is a Survivor Beyonce.
It's Survivor Beyonce.
Yeah, her pop
face to face.
Her pop shut me down. It was at Roscoe's on Gower. Yeah, she was standing out there, and I walked up to her, and I don't remember what I said, but as I'm trying to have a conversation, her father walks down like, how can I help you?
Yeah.
I just put my hands up like that, But I think every guy that does this has that one chick that he at least wants to take a shot at.
I mean, you got to take a shot, man. Yeah. You got to. Beyonce, hey, man, I don't know, I probably would have folded up in person.
Yeah, 02 Beyonce is, man,
that's prime real estate.
Yeah, I'm a year out of high school, 2 years out of high school. I didn't even know.
You had to go for the gusto.
When you're a young kid, you think about all the stuff you don't have.
Yeah.
And you don't value what you do have. That's the perception, an immature perception, where it's all the grass is always greener.
Right.
How long did it take you, or did you ever suffer from that? Mm-hmm. Like, or if you did, when did you realize, hey, man, I just got to make the most of what I have and stop worrying about what I don't have?
Oh, like really, really recently, like for the past few years, really since my son passed in 2021.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, and so ever since then, I've been in gratitude mode a lot.
Yeah.
And so just like, man, I've really accomplished something that, I do what I love to do, and I'm able to make a living at it.
Right.
That's what I always wanted. Like my biggest fear in life was to never do for a living what I wanted to do.
Man.
You know how some people fear, like, I'll never find somebody that loves me, or I'll never get married. My fear was working a job I hate to make a living.
That was my number one fear as well. Is just having my family dependent on me, and I have to provide for them with something I just cannot stand.
That's my biggest fear.
100%.
Because I always feel, not to be cocky, but I know I can find a companion.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because, contrary to what you hear about, this dating is rough, there's a lot of good women out here.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot. They're everywhere.
Right.
And so I never feared that. I was like, I know I can find a companion. But that fear of like, will I find something that I'm passionate about and I can make a living off of that?
Right.
And so when I found myself in that situation, I was like, man, this is, and money. People always say, when people have money, they say money ain't everything, but it's really not.
Nah.
It's very important. It can make your life more simplified, but then when you realize when you take a huge emotional loss,
it ain't nothing.
Money ain't doing shit for that.
You'll walk away from everything.
I will cash in every dollar I had to get my son back. So it's like money truly isn't everything, and so I would start from scratch to get him back. And so when you realize those things, you just be like, wow, you know what I'm saying? Money isn't everything. And then you start to look at your life and what you have and where you came from.
Right.
And you just like, man, this is the dream right here.
Yeah.
So everything else is just icing on the cake. And once you start looking at your life like that, then you just start striving for peace.
Right.
On the daily. Like peace is just
man. It's the ultimate.
Yeah.
And anybody that is destroying that,
the man, you know what I'm saying?
They on the chopping block for sure.
Diddy's worth $800 million.
Yeah.
He has no peace right now.
Oh yeah, he's in.
I'm sure he will pay $500 million just to get a fraction of the piece back.
Yeah, he's definitely looking for some type of island, Asian country to retire
for real. So it's just like, yo, peace is golden, man. And so I strive. That's what I strive for. It's like I say no a lot. I keep doing what I don't want to do to a minimum. It's just I'll be like, no, I can't do it. Nope.
What's the evolution? What's the next step in stand up? I mean, you know, pretty much, man. You definitely turned yourself into a national headliner. Which is, hey, that's an accomplishment. If you don't do comedy, that's the equivalent to getting drafted. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what's the next step? Because I feel like I see theaters and stuff like that for you, but where do you see the evolution of your stand up?
My main goal now, I would love to not need social media.
Yeah.
Because I need it now. You know what I mean? So I would love to be in a situation where I don't need it. It could be a important tool for me, but I don't want to have to need it.
Right.
Like I want to be big enough to where as soon as I put the tickets up on the website,
it's out of here.
Sell out.
Kendrick's show that's where I want to be. What Kendrick just did.
Yeah.
Did you hear?
He sold it out. How fast?
The first day, an hour before the tickets went on sale, I heard that there was 100,000 people in the queue waiting to purchase tickets to a show that held. What is the theater hold?
What was it? The Forum, right?
Yeah, the Forum. I think the Forum holds 15 to 20,000.
Oh man, wow.
So that's where I would like to be.
Yeah, that right there is the perfect place for me.
I think the closest to that in comedy, besides like the mainstream megastars like the Kevin Harts and stuff like that, is Ron White. Ron White doesn't do a lot of shows.
Yeah.
I think he does like 12, 13 shows a year. If I'm wrong, please comment below. But they're all in stadiums.
Wow, see?
He just rocks out. Like, that's what I would like to get to for sure.
And I feel like Ron White can go to Whole Foods, Trader Joe's,
and be cool.
People won't even know he's in there.
I don't want to need a bodyguard.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I don't want an entourage. Yeah.
That's the ultimate right there.
Yeah, for sure.
Like for me, that would be the ultimate like point right there where I can just be like, I'm gonna be in Philly in May, sold out,
gone,
boom.
Yeah.
I could just do a one show in one city and just do like 20 shows a year.
Oh, yeah, it's perfect.
Come on, man, that's the dream.
Do you remember your first joke that you ever did on stage? If you don't remember, it's all good, but the first joke you ever wrote that went over and you were like, oh yeah, this is it.
It was so I started at the Ha Comedy Club in North Hollywood, 2008. And I went up there. I had my set list. And one of my bits was the difference between New Mexico and LA. So I compared living in New Mexico to LA. But that might have been towards the back end of the 5-minute set. But I feel like.
Do you have that film? Do you have that set on film?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I know I had jokes. I had jokes about wedgies. I think it was about wedgies and how men work with wedgies. Because women will just pull it right out and they lose no credibility.
Right.
Like a woman could dig right on in there. Yeah. We like, yeah, girl, you good? You need some help? But a man, we got to get crafty with it. We can't just go in and adjust. So we gotta be mindful of where we are, how we do it. So you got methods. We got the leg kick.
Oh, okay.
The random leg kick or the stand wide in conversation. Like, why you standing like this asking me about rent? And so I was doing those, and they went over well, and so I was like, and I came back every day after that.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, so it was my very first experience was a good one.
That high open mic used to be cool, man.
I was there daily.
And then another spot that had treachery and beauty all in one was Marty's.
Marty's, man.
Marty's, man. For those of y'all who don't do comedy, Marty's was an open mic where the elite and the new and the middle ground comedians all were, and we just worked on jokes.
Yeah, sure. You can get up multiple times.
Oh yeah.
You pay your $5. You get up multiple times. He had like different rooms in there, and it was boot camp.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Stand-up boot camp.
Shout out to Marty too. He's the dirtiest comedy in the history of comedy.
He's filth, man. Marty is pure filth.
Yeah, man. I used to ask him for feedback on my jokes sometimes just to hear what he was saying because compared to Marty, everybody's clean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He would just always, it would be the just dirtiest. You got to fuck it up more. You need more F-bombs. Like Marty was cool, man.
He was.
Man, Teddy Ray, what was your relationship with Teddy Ray?
Oh, man, Teddy was cool, man. I remember, I can't remember if I met him at the Comedy Store or Marty's, but it was just instant coolness. And I was just like, yo, I like this kid. He felt very L.A.
Yeah.
He was who he was. It was always him and Valentino.
Man.
They was a package deal.
Yeah. Shout out to Valentino.
Shout out to Valentino, man. And so and Teddy Ray, every time we see each other, we were like, oh, this whole ass nigga.
Yeah,
right here.
that's Teddy Ray.
And his laugh was so infectious, man. Yeah. It was like, oh, Teddy's in here. Like if you would hear him laugh. And Teddy was just always cool. And I was the guy, I gave a lot of comedians rides home.
Okay. Yeah.
I gave a lot of the young comedians like
in the Suzuki sedan.
I was in the Mitsubishi Lancer.
Oh, it was a Mitsubishi. Okay, yeah.
Yep. I had that car forever.
Yeah.
And so I was notorious for taking comedians home, like Brandon Lewis, Izell, Nav. They used to always run together. I would drop them off in the jungle. I would take Teddy Ray. Every time I gave Teddy Ray a ride, though, It was always a different location.
Oh, yeah, Teddy was he was a nomad.
Yeah, I was like, well, I'm taking you now. He would just get out. But yeah, it was just always love every time. And I'm a fan of consistent energy.
Yeah, yeah.
And so when people have consistent energy, I vibe with that more.
Me too.
And Teddy was always consistent.
Yeah, I remember Teddy and I got hired to do a roast for Anderson .Paak's birthday.
Oh wow, for real?
It was me, Teddy Ray, and the loose cannon of all loose cannons, Buka Pone.
Oh, Buka Pone,
my guy. Dumbfounded hosted because Dumbfounded and Anderson are best friends.
Yeah.
And was there one more comedian? I forget, but. For those of y'all who know, Anderson .Paak is probably the most talented person in music right now.
Crazy, man.
His live performance is incredible.
Yeah.
So they do an hour. They do maybe an hour and some change, right? He performs. He has Mario come up. He does Let Me Love You about 5-6 times. You know what I mean?
He did it 5-6 times?
That's all he got really is Let Me Love You. I mean, he did a country version, a rap version.
Every genre. Hard rock, death metal.
So he Let Me Love You till the wheels fell off. And then he brought up what's the dude, 24 Karat Magic.
Oh yeah, Bruno.
He brought up Bruno.
Oh,
Bruno rocked out.
Yeah.
Bruno looked just like Manny Pacquiao's mom, right? So Bruno rocked out, man. He was doing his thing, crowd going crazy.
Yeah.
And it's not a regular crowd. This is like Will Smith's children are in there.
Oh, wow.
Having a ball. It's like the industry.
Yeah.
They rock out. Then now they want to do the roast.
Oh, wow.
When the room is just...
Yeah.
They're not ready for it.
Yeah. So now we got to sit down and dial the energy.
And we got Buka Pone in here.
Yeah.
If you don't... Y'all
He's
know
a volume shooter and you don't know what's going to land and what's going to miss. You just don't.
Yeah, right. So we're up. So they have Dumbfounded roast them. They bring me up. I immediately feel, they're not messing with. They're partied out. So I shoot about 3. All the black people scattered were laughing, but the industry folk was just kind of stone faced.
Right.
I bagged on Anderson. He laughed. I bagged on what's his name, Bruno, and I bagged on Mario. And so I did my 3 jokes. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is different. All right, I'll see y'all later. I got out. Buka Pone goes next. Buka Pone does 30 minutes of silence. I'm talking about
He did 30 minutes.
They did. I mean, but it's a great. I'm having a ball watching them because I love Boo. That's big bro. Yeah. So it ain't. He didn't. It ain't like he did bad.
Yeah.
It just was there was something that was lost in translation where they didn't understand them.
Yeah.
So it was some people laughing, but for the majority.
They was just
they wasn't messing with us. Right. I just knew to get out in a couple minutes. He stayed for like 33 minutes. It felt like a hostage situation, right? So he gets off, and this is one of my favorite memories of Teddy. Teddy just got up, because Anderson and Teddy were close. Yeah. Anderson really loved Teddy. He just got up and he just talked about Booker phone for like 15 minutes straight, and the crowd went crazy. Oh. They went crazy. I was like, I'm a coward. I should have stayed up there. He did his thing, you know what I mean? But I was like, man, this guy's a star, man. Yeah. So I think about that sometime when I think about him and how he handled that situation.
That's crazy.
He was always there when I needed him, you know. I had a show in Texas. I flew him out to Austin. He came and killed. So yeah, shout out to Teddy Ray, man.
Teddy Ray, man, rest in peace, man. That was my guy.
Yeah,
I talked to him, you know, shortly before he passed, just checking on him. You know what I mean? And so I was just like, because we were supposed to link up and go walking.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I was like, damn. You know, you always have those moments of regret when you lose somebody.
Yeah.
It's just like, damn, man, we were supposed to.
And this comedy eats up years, man, because, you know, before you know it, the whole decade has went by.
Man, tough.
And you never feel like you've done enough.
Right.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about people who want to get into comedy. You're always going to feel like, should I prepare harder?
Right.
You got to fight that anxiety and just experience the moment for what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's real.
Do you have a technique for doing that, or do you just kind of bull your way through it?
Man, I'm very tough on myself. So, you know, I'll be going up there. You ever think you had a good set and then you watch the playback and you was like, man, it was better than this in my own mind.
Indeed, yeah, and for sure.
And then sometimes you might watch some on the playback, you go, oh, this is better than I thought it was.
Right.
And so for me, like, my biggest anxiety, this is the anxieties I deal with as far as like, sometimes, as long as I've been doing comedy, since 2008, I've never stopped long term. I've never taken breaks, except for the pandemic, but that was forced on us. But like, other than that, I've never taken a break. I've never walked away. And but I still have those moments of like doubt before I go up. Like, man, am I funny? Like, you know, I'll be watching other comedians and be like, man, do I have jokes? Like, you know, and so and then when I get up there, as soon as my hand touches the mic,
it goes away.
Into work mode. But I'm always like striving for better material, better reactions, better, you know, timing, you know, pacing. You know, I'm always like, you know, nitpicking, and you know, I'm like that artist that puts out an album and then they don't want to give it up to the record company to put it out yet.
Right.
They fine tuning, like, I want to get this sample cleared. And then it's like that story you hear about Q-Tip and Tribe Called Quest, where they had to snatch the album out of his hands, and just put it out because he was so like nitpicky. So I always struggle with that. I'm always just like, how can I fine tune this? So what's my next set gonna be? Even when I got a nice 45 to an hour, I'm like, all right, once this hour is used up, I'm gonna come with another hour.
Yeah.
So I'm always looking at the next. Right. When it comes to the stand up.
That's how you gotta be.
Yeah.
It's the only way. Yeah. You ever had a stalker? I have one.
Oh, you got
I have a stalker. They text me from random numbers. They say stuff like, hey, don't bomb next time you get up. Like, or they'll say stuff like, don't let me catch you slipping. Oh. I got the number. I want to put the number below so everybody can call this person.
Yo.
I mean, they say the most egregious thing, and I think they try to strike fear into me, but I just laugh, or I kind of play around with them a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
How long has been going on?
That's been going on for about 3 months.
Really?
Have you ever had any weird situations like that?
No, I mean the weirdest thing is like this girl that's a fan, but she just be doing too much, and then she be vanishing. Then the Instagram page is shut down. Then it'll come back, and then I came to your show, and nothing creepy, but it's just like just kind of like overstepping.
Yeah.
And then I just be kind of like, you're doing too much. Oh, let me just shut the page down.
Yeah.
I'll just be like, but other than that, nothing too creepy to where I had to be like, hey, yo, man.
Yeah, I want to put this number out for people to call.
Yeah, but you can tell it's a dude.
It's hard. So
how'd they get your number?
I don't know.
Okay.
I may have to scrub the internet. I may have to change my number.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What if it's somebody you know, they just pranking you?
It could be. I mean, I put to them, hey man, you talking about you gonna catch me slipping, man. I don't wish no ill will on you, but
yeah.
I don't think it's gonna work out how you think it's gonna work out. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
'Cause I'm not. I don't want no problems.
Right.
But you're not about to walk. It's not. You know what I mean?
It's not in your best interest.
Yeah,
to test it out.
Yeah, I don't want that. You won.
Yeah.
I'm a bomb next time just for you. But that's something where I'm like, man, I understand why people, move a certain way.
For sure.
Because you just never know what's out here.
And we out here vulnerable.
Oh, we're super vulnerable. You ever have anything happen on the road where you're like, ooh, wee?
Nothing too crazy yet, thank God, man. But it's scary because we up there vulnerable. We standing on the stage. They don't really use metal detectors at comedy clubs, so anybody could come in with anything.
Right.
And we just up there. You know what I mean?
Man.
We at the mercy of this assemblage of people.
Of bad ideas.
Yeah, so it's just like anything can happen. Like, what if I cuss somebody out on Instagram and they here to settle the score? Or just like, so I think about things like this, and it's just like, but then, some comedians get weirded out by fans too quickly.
Right.
I try to give them grace.
Yeah.
Like if they seem like, man, they done came to see me 3 times. I'm a little worried. I'm like, no, that's just, they just love you. Like that's what we want. Like we want repeat viewings. We want, because I don't feel weird if I go see the same movie 4 times.
No, there are people I'm fans of and movies and so on and so forth. So I understand. And I also understand the awkwardness of wanting to show somebody you appreciate what they do without seeming like you're a weirdo.
Right.
So you get that grace when you see me all day long.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna give you, even if something comes out a little weird and you excited and you're trembling, I'm just like, man, they're really excited. I get emotional like when sometimes I take pictures with people and I can tell they're nervous. I can feel them shaking.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, they really excited, man.
You have no idea how regular I am.
Right. I was just with my cats cooking tofu.
Yeah.
Hours before this.
Yeah.
And here you are. This is a moment for you.
Yeah.
And I just get emotional. Like when people be wearing my merch, I just be like, man, you know what I'm saying? Or just like when I see people lined up for me, I'll be getting emotional.
My cry game is stronger than it used to be.
Man.
Sometimes you think I'm going to the bathroom, but I'm crying in that moment. This shit is sold out. This crazy.
Man, it's crazy out here, man.
But for those of y'all watching, my Stalkers phone number is 424 area code 258-4317. 424-258-4317. Just give them a call. Tell them I said hello.
Hilarious.
I don't know if it's male or female, but I just want them to understand how much we love them. They're probably watching.
It's the LA County area code.
Culver City, huh?
Oh, it says located in the coastal and coastal adjacent areas of LA County, including West Los Angeles and South Bay areas.
Yeah, this person has threatened to catch me slipping, has said all type of stuff. I don't have no real enemies out here, but let's give them a holler. Hopefully somebody can get them on the phone. If somebody can identify this person and get me at least a voice recording so I can hear what they sound like, I got $500 for you. I promise you. 424-258-4317. Let's find out who this person is and let them know how much we love them. God.
That's funny as hell, dog.
Yeah, it's a real thing I've never had to deal with. So
Stalkers.
How long we been going, Alejandro?
49 minutes.
Okay, we got 11 more minutes.
Let's do it.
Heck yeah, man. We did roast me together. Every time somebody I get an inbox from time to time where people be like, "Man, Tony, the animal weirdo."
That's
right?
it, man. That's eternal now.
Bro,
People
did
tell
you-
me that all the time? Tony Baker's an animal weirdo.
You know what's funny is like how I talk in my cadence when I first started doing comedy. People thought I was faking. Like, nigga, you don't really talk like that. Or
Right.
I don't know why I talk the way I talk. I talk slow.
Yeah.
I talk it maybe because I was a rapper first.
I think because your wordplay and how you say what you say is unique.
Thank you.
So it's like when anytime you have a unique speaking pattern, that to me is like a weapon that people pay for.
Indeed.
People like fake to get. And so the way you talk, because you're my favorite. You're always my favorite on Roast Me because you gonna say something that's left field,
right?
And how you deliver it, it's a double whammy.
I appreciate it.
Why did he say that, dog?
Yeah,
and
I appreciate
it. And so when you had, because that's what you call the intangible.
Indeed.
And you need an intangible quality as a comedian to stand out in the game.
Indeed.
And so when you're easy for people to imitate, or when they try to talk like you, that's a jewel, man. Because I'll be annoyed when people be talking like me, and I just be like, oh. But I get it because it's so like.
Isn't that weird to see people subconsciously be you?
Yeah.
I don't know if you like. I've seen somebody like taking my facial expressions that has been around me a lot. Like I seen them like kind of in like. I know this sounds weird to say, but like there are certain people out there who mirror you because they want to be you, and you don't realize it.
Right, and they might not even realize.
They don't realize. No, they don't.
And it's just like, oh, and you could tell like sometimes you could tell when a female comedian is dating a certain comedian. They start talking like them. I'm like, this is so and so.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's crazy. I'm like, they date.
Yeah. Women are allowed to mirror because we don't view them as threats. Not saying a woman isn't a threat,
right.
But when we pick up on guys doing it, it's definitely a different
because it's a direct competition. Because let's say a woman does mirror you, there's still a core difference. Even if they imitate you down to the molecule,
right?
You can go up right after her and still be different because it's male female.
Indeed.
But if it's two dudes and they got your whole style, it's like, hey man, this is the same thing. And then
And also I want to apologize to you about something, man. First couple of years I got into comedy. I was an MC first, still an MC.
Yeah.
Buy all the Chill Withers albums, Chill Withers, Chill Never Withers, Chill
we
Withers.
Own it.
Cluster B, thank you. Chill Withers, Cluster B, and Chill Withers, The Disrespect dropping. But I remember we had a conversation. You probably don't even remember it. But when I got into comedy, I had a boy I used to rap with who was murdered. He was killed. And I remember you had asked me a question about my music or something early in the game.
Yeah.
And my response wasn't the best to you. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't think I remember.
Okay, yeah, but I'm glad you don't. But I really didn't have much to say to you about it because at that time, I stopped focusing on music because there was a lot of foul stuff going on, and I just had a weird connection to music at that point. It took me years to kind of get past, So I just want to apologize to you about that. Yeah, I'm glad you don't remember, man.
What did I ask you? Was you still doing it, or was it?
It was something along the lines of where can I get hear some of your music or something like that. It's probably about 8-9 years ago.
Because I remember asking you about like it might have been the same conversation. I remember asking you about where could I find? It was like an old video of yours.
It was the Pack It Up video, I think.
I think that was it. Yeah. I remember asking you about the Pack It Up joint.
Yeah,
I forgot how I even got wind of the Pack It Up joint.
Yeah.
And then was that 8 or 9 years ago though?
That maybe 7.
Okay, yeah.
7, 8 years ago.
Was it then?
It was around that time.
Okay.
Yeah. But I had stopped doing music for 10 years. The only reason I started back was the quarantine.
Oh,
I was sitting in the crib. I got to do something.
Yeah.
I can't get on no stage. So.
Right.
Heck yeah, to me, the quarantine is one of the best things that's happened to us.
The quarantine was a good time for me.
Yeah, from an artist perspective, I felt like it allowed us to catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't take that shit lightly. I was creating like, you know what I mean? Like I was on a daily.
I was in the during the pandemic. I was thinking of jokes. I was still doing a lot of stuff online via Zoom. I'm still doing animal voiceovers. I'm still doing regular voiceovers. I was in my creative bag,
man.
And the pressure was off to do other shit because we couldn't do nothing else.
Right.
So we had a chance to catch our breath and be creative.
Right.
Because we at the house.
Man, talk about it.
And that Chill With Us, man, that we own it.
Man,
I'll be on that song, man.
Man, I appreciate it, man.
That's my shit right there.
Man, thank you very much, man. We're going to wrap up this show. I want to thank Tony for coming down and messing with your boy. Yeah. Is there anything you want to tell the people? Tell them where they can find you, anything they should be on the lookout for?
Check out my podcast, Verbal Cardio. It's just me. I'll be running my mouth. That's why it's called Verbal Cardio. You can find that on YouTube. My YouTube is Tony Baker Comedy. I also have a podcast called the Ball Brothers Podcast with Kev on Stage. You can find episodes of that on Kev on Stage Studios. Also, the Daddy Issues Podcast. Even though I just left that podcast, I still want y'all to tap into that podcast as DC Irvin, Keon Poley, Chaz Rogers, and Kraig Wayans. And I do a monthly show. If you're in the LA area, I do a monthly show at Flappers Comedy Club, Tony Baker and Friends. It's the last Monday of every month. So if you want to just laugh and take your mind off everything, come through last Monday every month. We be having a good time. So yeah.
Heck yeah, let's spend this episode. And if I owe you something, get it from God. God, God, God.
Yeah, man.
Huh? Yeah, click finish.